Well, good afternoon. This is December the 6th of 2020. Hope everybody is having a good day. And uh, this morning at, at Bethel AME Church in Corsicana, we celebrated the feast of St. Nicholas. And if anybody didn't tune in at that time, it's certainly available here and on Amazon, on YouTube. So hope you'll enjoy this celebration with us. But for my second video today, I want to pay tribute to a man named Nicholas Black Elk. And some people are celebrated on their day of birth, others on their day of death. I've chosen the day of December 6th because it is the feast day of St. Nicholas. It was on this day in 1904 that Black Elk was baptized. He was a member of the Lakota Sioux tribe in South Dakota. He was a medicine man or holy man and educator about his culture. He was second cousin to the war leader Crazy Horse and had fought with him at the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876. He survived the tragedy of the Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890 and traveled to Europe as part of Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. It was in 1904 that he converted to Catholicism and became a catechist instructing Native Americans in the Catholic faith. And recently, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Rapid City, South Dakota, has opened an official cause for his beatification. And so he's now known as a servant of God. Beatification is the next step toward canonization, which means sainthood. And he was a very interesting man. Some consider some Indian traditionalists respect Black Elk, but they either deny that he actually became a Catholic or they uh, think his conversion was sincere but misguided. And there's to many Catholics and other Christians, he's a big hero, and they talk about him having renounced the old ways and came into the new light. Well, like with many things, the truth is probably somewhere in between. Based on the research I've done, I have reached the conclusion that Black Elk was a very creative religious thinker who was able to embody the best of both worlds, the native traditions in which he was raised and the Catholicism that he adopted. And because he was baptized December 6, 1906, 1904, the feast day of St. Nicholas, that's why he was given the Christian name of Nick and Nicholas, and some refer to him as Old Nick. He's best known for his books dictated to American ethnologists. He recorded the 7 sacred rites of the Sioux to ethnologist Joseph Epps Brown, which were published in 1947 in a book called The Sacred Pipe. And near the end of his life, he worked with ethnologist John Nehart to discuss his religious views, visions, and events from his life, which which Nehart published in Black Elk Speaks. The book has since been published in numerous editions, most recently in 2008. There's been a great deal of interest in these works among members of the American Indian movement since the 1970s, and by others who wanted to learn more about Native American religions. It's I do know this that the Indian traditionalist Wallace Black Elk, who was heavily involved in the American Indian movement and involved with the standoff at Wounded Knee in 1973, was not related to Nicholas Black Elk. Nicholas was born into an Oglala Lakota family on December 1st, 1863, along the Little Powder River, a site thought to be in the present day state of Wyoming. According to the Lakota way of measuring time, referred to as winter counts, Black Elk was born in the winter when the four crows were killed on Tongue River. When he was 9 years old, he was suddenly taken ill. He lay prone and unresponsive for several days. During this time, he had a great vision in which he was visited by the Thunder Bridge, thunder being spirits. They were represented as kind and loving, full of years and wisdom, like revered human grandfathers. And when he was 17, he took a medicine, he told a medicine man named Black Road about the vision in detail. Black Road and other medicine men of the village were astonished by the greatness of the vision. Black Elk had learned many things in his visions to help heal his people. He had come from a long line of medicine men and healers in his family. His father was a medicine man, as were his paternal uncles. Late in life, as an elder, he told Nehart about his vision. He also envisioned a great tree that symbolized the life of the earth and its people. Nehart later published these accounts in the book Black Elk Speaks. Since the late 20th century, Nehart's books have received renewed attention, largely from non-Lakota. An annotated edition was published by the State University of New York in 2008. In one of his visions, Black Elk describes being taken to the center of the earth and to the central mountain of the world. The noted mythologist Joseph Campbell notes that an axis mundi, the central point, the pole around which all revolves, the point which stillness and movement are together, is a theme in several other religions as well. Campbell viewed Black Elk's statement as one key to understanding worldwide religious myth and symbols in general. As I stated previously, Black Elk survived the fighting at the Wounded Knee massacre in 1890. While on horseback, he charged soldiers and helped to rescue some of the wounded. He arrived at many of Spotted Elk's or Bigfoot's band of people who had been shot and was grazed with a bullet. And for at least a decade, beginning in 1934, he turned to work related to performances early in life with Buffalo Bill. He organized his Indian shows to be held in the sacred Black Hills. But unlike the Wild West shows used to glorify Native American warfare, Black Elk created a show to teach tourists about Lakota culture and traditional sacred rituals, including the sun dance. And as I say, he was baptized into the Catholic Church on December the 6th, 1904, the feast day of St. Nicholas. And he was married twice, had several children. His son, Benjamin Black Elk, lived from 1899 to 1973. He became known as the fifth face of Mount Rushmore, posing in the 50s and 60s for tourists at the memorial. And Benjamin played an uncredited role in the 1962 film How the West Was Won. And Nicholas and Benjamin both were involved in the Catholic Church. And his son Ben translated Black Elk stories into English as he spoke to John Nehart and Joseph Epps Brown. Nehart's daughter Enid recorded these accounts. And after Black Elk spoke with Nehart over the course of several days, Nehart asked why Black Elk had put aside his old religion and baptized his children. And he reportedly said, "My children had to live in this world." And uh, but when he died, it was on August the 19th, 1950. It said that the sky was filled with all kinds of celestial phenomena and guiding his soul to the land of many lodges. But he is certainly remembered. Since the 1970s, Black Elk Speaks has been a very popular book with those interested in Native Americans in the United States. And with the rise of Native American activism, there was increasing interest among many in Native American religions. Within the American Indian movement, um, Black Elk Speaks was an important source for those who are now seeking religious and spiritual inspiration. However, some critics believe John Nehart, as the author and editor, may have exaggerated or altered some parts of the story to make it more accessible and marketable to the intended white audience of the 1930s, or because he did not fully understand Lakota culture. And Benjamin Black Elk, as I say, was an active Catholic. And when he died in 1973, his funeral was conducted by Father Paul Steinmetz, who for 20 years was pastor on the Rosebud Reservation in South Dakota. He was one of the first priests to bring the sacred pipe to the altar during Mass. And during this service, Father Steinmetz took the bowl and stem of the pipe apart, placed it on the coffin to symbolize death, then took the bowl and stem of the pipe, reconnected them to symbolize resurrection. To me, that's very powerful symbolism. There's a oft-repeated story among the Lakota Sioux about the Buffalo Cow Woman. It was during a time in which there was a famine and very much a shortage of meat, and two Indians went out hunting. A cloud came in vision, and this beautiful woman walked toward them. She wore her hair all the way to the ground, but she wore no clothes. And one Indian approached her in hopes of a sexual encounter. And as he came close to her, a cloud covered both of them. When the cloud was lifted, the Indian was a pile of bones. She told the other Indian no harm would come to him if he treated her with respect. And a great feast was prepared for her, and at this feast she presented them the sacred pipe used in the Native American ceremonies, saying, "Whenever the pipe is smoked, I will be present and will answer your prayers." She later turned herself back into a buffalo cow. And after he converted to Catholicism, Black Elk identified the buffalo cow woman with the Blessed Virgin Mary. On October 21st, 2017, the cause for canonization for Nicholas Black Elk was formally opened by the Roman Catholic Diocese of Rapid City, South Dakota, paving the way for the possibility that Black Elk might eventually be a saint. He is now designated as a servant of God, a title indicating that his life and works are being investigated by the Pope and by the Catholic Church for possible canonization. His work to share the gospel with native and non-native people and harmonize the faith with Lakota culture was noted at the Mass. There are several books that are written about Black Elk, some of which I have read, and he's truly a fascinating man. And as I say, he was a master at syncretism. He was, I believe, fully committed to the traditional religion in which he was raised and able to combine it well with the Catholicism he adopted. And he made the claim that just as the Jewish rituals prepared the Jews for the coming of Jesus, the Old Testament sacrifices, even so, some of the Native American rituals, such as the sun dance and the sweat lodge, prepared the Indians for the coming of Jesus. So it was on this day, December 6, 1904, that a traditional medicine man was baptized into the Catholic Church and took the name of Nicholas. Through him, much knowledge of Native American traditions have come to Indian and non-Indian alike. And when he died, the sky was filled with all kinds of celestial phenomena, guiding his soul to the land of many lodges. Truly a very interesting, very remarkable man. Have a good St. Nicholas Day.